Hi everyone, this is What's It Fox Gaming. Just like to bring you a new build video. I've come up with this one in the last day or so, and this plays quite differently to my previous builds, so I wanted to showcase this one today if possible. In the usual format, this is just a standard live stream where I'll go through the build and then show you some conflict footage. So let's get straight into it then. Before I quickly go through the builds, just a reminder that any likes and subscribes are really helpful to me. I'm just going to see how this whole YouTube and Twitch thing plays out. Please be honest in the comments if you like the build, if you like what you see. If you don't, I'd really be interested to hear your thoughts. Okay, so this is like I said before, a very different build to my other ones, which typically play a lot more passively, more in the back line. This is actually the complete opposite of that. This is a very much in-your-face build. If you find yourself as a sort of player that loves rushing into a fight and maybe dies a little bit more than you care to admit, I know I've certainly been there before, then this might just be the perfect build for you. I'll explain what the specific pieces are and how this build works, and then we'll get that conflict game started. So this relies on two very short range weapons. Which types you choose is completely up to you, but you do want to use a shotgun and an SMG. Ideally I'd like a Vector here. I'm really happy with my Marine. I think it's my favourite shotgun in the game, but faster rate of fire ones are more popular, rock and rolls, that kind of thing. It doesn't really make a difference, just use which you're more comfortable with and have a play around with them until you find what works well for you. So I'll start with the talents on this build, because this build is entirely based around the two talents. I'm running Gunslinger, and I never see this used in conjunction with the other talent I'm about to show. But Gunslinger means weapon swapping increases total weapon damage by 20% for 5 seconds. And this buff is lost for 5 seconds if you weapon swap whilst it's active. That timer links up perfectly with Versatile, which is probably the single strongest damage talent in Conflict at the moment. And what Versatile does is, again, by swapping weapons, you give yourself a big damage buff. Now the Versatile damage buff lasts for 10 seconds, this one lasts for 5 seconds, but Versatile has a 5-second internal cooldown, so if you read at the bottom of the description there, at most once per 5 seconds per weapon type. So in the middle of a battle, if it lasts longer than that 10 seconds, you really should have already swapped your weapons once and continue to do so every 5 seconds. This one here is at 35% to enemies within 15 meters for shotguns and SMGs. Now I did toy with having 6 blues on this build, and that does work quite well actually, and I would say that is equally as good as the option that I have here, which is 4 blues and 2 reds. The only reason I settled on this is that it allows your shotgun to one-shot when you have a couple of reds on there against somebody that's got a full damage build, so or should I say a build with 0 blue, 0 armour. So I kind of settled on this, but honestly I would actually maybe consider starting this out with 5 or 6 reds, because you do need to be very tanky. I just like to dodge roll quite a lot, which kind of adds to my tankiness in the sense that they lose their aim on me. So yeah, 4 blues, 2 reds is what I've settled on. You do not want to go lower than 4 blues though. I tried that, doesn't work because of the play style, and you need to be within 15 meters. You cannot afford to be less than blue, so this is the bare minimum. I opted for 2 brand pieces that give me damage boost to shotguns and SMGs. So that's the Sokolov that you see just here, and of course the Badger Tough that you see here. The backpack is Providence, which I didn't really care for. I would have taken a second Yao here if possible, but that's a lot harder to farm. But of course it does give me the talent that I want. This is the piece of Yao that I have for the hazard protection, so just to add to my tankiness a little bit, as you do sometimes come in range of enemy skills. I've got a Gilligard here, which is nice. Again, I wasn't initially too fussed about this, but Gilligard is really strong on high armor builds because it's just 5% of your total armor, and if you have over 1 million armor, then obviously that's a lot more armor to add on top. And then I've got the Grupo just here for the extra critical hit damage. So in an ideal world, I would probably have, instead of 1 Providence, 1 Jarl, I would probably have 2 Jarl, because that gives me the 5% weapon damage, and I may even consider switching to a 5th blue if I did that. Everything else I'm more than happy with. The talents and the weapons are completely up to you. You want to use damage talents for sure, because of course this only has 2 weapon damage core attributes, so I opted for Strained on the Org. Totally up to you what you use here. If this was a Vector I would have been happier, but I probably wouldn't use Strained on a Vector because it blows through its mag so quick that you don't have a chance for that Strained talent to stack up. This Org was too good for me not to use. It's very, very high rolls, and I was able to re-roll the talent, so I was really lucky to get this. Because it's such a low fire rate, 725, Strained has more of a chance to get up to the higher stacks. So in my opinion, that was the best in slot there. But you know, fast hands or optimist, or there's loads of talents that work really well. And this shotgun just came with close and personal, which kind of makes sense for a shotgun. Again, I could have happily taken something else. It doesn't really make a difference. The skills that I'm running are the Defender Drone and EMP Pulse, the Jammer Pulse. The Defender Drone is in replacement of the shield. You really don't want to use a shield with this build because you know, if you try and face tank with just the 4 blues and without running any sort of form of self heals or incoming repairs, which I haven't got here, you're going to die. It doesn't make a difference if you got 6 armor or 1. You need that incoming repairs to help you out with that. So I've opted for the Defender Drone, and I always use the Jammer because it's just the best. It's the best PvP talent in the game. It's so effective at wiping out shields and skills and everything else. And as you're going to be up close and in the fight, it will just enable your team to push behind you. I run the Technician class here. No real reason for this. That's the one part that you can switch out. There are lots of options here. And I say no real reason. I do like it because it gives me the one extra skill tier for these two. I like the grenades. I feel that grenades in Conflict aren't really amazing. They're very, very easy to dodge. They give you too much time to see the red danger circle. This is an EMP grenade, so I can just use it to disable skills from a distance. If there's a hive that I can clearly see, it's not a waste of a grenade to break a skill, but it is a waste of a grenade to throw into the enemy without doing any damage. So that was kind of my preference there. It also means that I can slap on the old favourite of mine, which is the linked laser pointer, and I've got that on both weapons. So I can just pulse any enemy that I see. It doesn't benefit the build in any way. It just, pulsed enemies are really good, and as the pulse has such a long cooldown, the standard pulse, this completely negates the need for it. So I really like that because it just highlights everyone to my team. So that's kind of the build. The way that you want to play this is kind of, as I said at the start, very up close and personal. Don't use a shield because you need to be agile. You want to be dodge rolling more often than not. With this in mind, I actually set my sensitivity at 20. Not my aim down sight sensitivity. I've barely just gotten used to 15. But camera sensitivity, because no matter how high this is, that doesn't actually have any bearing on this number here. So if you run this at 5, 10, whatever, just put this straight up to 20. It just means that you can rotate your camera so much faster. And if there was an enemy right here, you could dodge roll, instantly turn around and just be looking in the opposite direction, and so much faster than if your turn speed was slow. To try and get a feel for 15 meters, let's quickly stick this on. Pretty far. It's a lot further than people realise. Your shotgun, the drop off starts after 15 meters, but the spread here is going to be pretty big anyway. So I wouldn't actively engage there. But obviously SMG at that range is pretty good. Your shotgun will of course completely one-shot anything that's within sort of 5 to 10 meters. There's not a big void tank. So what I like to do with each game is start with a shotgun in my hand, because that means that I can then switch out to the SMG and get all of the damage buffs. I always feel that the first fight should be taken with the SMG, just because it's probably going to be at range. Usually it'll be somebody pushing a flank right from the spawn. Now obviously that's not going to work with your versatile because you need to be within 15 meters, but it will still work with the gunslinger perk. So you're getting that bit extra damage. Get some shots on them, and if they continue to push, you can then switch back to your shotgun after that 5 seconds. They're well within range. You've got 2 damage buffs, and well, yeah, that should pretty much delete them. Right, well, I always find that with these live streams that I upload straight to YouTube, that I always get a game where we get absolutely steamrolled by an incredibly sweaty team, and as I'm usually testing a brand new build, I tend not to do so well because it's out of my comfort zone. Or it's the other way around, we just completely dominate another team. And again, I don't have an opportunity to showcase the build, so fingers crossed this is somewhere in between. Now we'll be continuing to upload some build videos. I've got a few more videos in mind that I want to showcase, so check out my previous videos, and I'll try and do one every 2 or 3 days maximum or so. I've got quite a lot of ideas that I haven't tested yet, so it's going to take some time to test them out, but you'll basically see any video that isn't True Patriot and Pestilence, because I cannot stand that build. I find it very dull to play, very annoying to come up against, and yeah, I express my hate for that in every video, so apologies for the repetition. Okay then. Now, this is probably the single worst map for this build, because people either take the rooftops and it's very hard to push them, unless your team do it simultaneously, or it's just wide open in the streets, which doesn't really help me at all. So, hopefully we'll be able to circumvent that a little bit. If your team push at the same time, which obviously running with your clan is very easy to arrange that, then it's fine. But this is of course a solo queue, so...
drone detected. Domination points online and ready for capture.
Left. Yeah, there's far too many like long sight lines here. Oh, it's a domination.
Point Charlie is in enemy hands.
I thought this was skirmish. I wasn't even paying attention there. Let's go help out bad psycho boy. I'm not sure if this speeds up the capture rate when somebody holds it down. Somebody will have to confirm that or explain that in the comments. I assume it must do, but...
Point Bravo has been captured by the enemy.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. Right, I'm going to need my team here with me, really. Well, I'm in front, which is where I need to be.
Rogue sniper turret detected.
Defender drone out.
Rogue seeker mine detected.
Oh, goodness. I got absolutely wrecked by everybody there. Unfortunately, my team ran off to the side instead of focusing that one guy down. That's a shame, because he was actually by himself there and they had a good sight. Never mind.
System reactivated.
This is a rough map for this build, actually, so I may end up potentially re-uploading this in a different map. We'll just see how it plays out.
Medical assistance needed. Rogue hive detected.
He's running a very similar build. He's got quite tanky. He did a lot of damage to me there. Hello. Just trying to enter this guy's skill quest.
Serious trauma.
Ah, that was a terrible time to do that. That was a terrible time to do that.
Agent killed.
I think what I'm going to do is end up doing
Boost online.
a different video here. I think I'm going to do a different different match. Maybe cut this one out because it's a bad map for it, and the team are very much sticking together. Assume they're probably in communication.
Rogue striker drone detected. Agent down.
So that was good. That was just within that 15 meters by the looks of it, so he got absolutely melted.
Point Bravo was captured by your team.
Alright, I'm going to try and catch him off early here. So this is really what you want to do with this build, just get him...
About to expire.
Get him pulse so my team can see him. So I'm hoping they're going to push the top here. We have 2 points, this is a good chance for us to catch up.
Point Charlie is being held by your squad. You're holding all 3 control points. Excellent. Rogue seeker mine detected. Rogue sniper turret detected.
Nice. That was a nice little double kill there. And interestingly, the first kill I didn't even have my weapon perks active because I hadn't swapped. So it certainly has the potential. I think that's more just the inherent viability of SMGs, and as I say, that massive critical hit damage really helps out there. You know, I'm running, it's actually 60% and 170 on my SMG, but it's showing my Super Marine at the moment for some reason. So yeah, even without the weapon perks, you can still absolutely melt somebody.
Point Charlie has been taken by the enemy.
They've gone for C, so my guess is they're probably going to push up here.
The specialization supply drop has been arranged for you. You're halfway to victory.
Stay here. Actually, no, I'm actually going to engage this. This is going to be a very risky play. Oh, there's a lot of people here. Oh no, you can't get down there. That's a bad play as well.
Charlie is now held by
This
your
has not gone very well
You're
at
in
all.
complete control. Keep it up.
Serious trauma detected. Agent incapacitated.
Definitely taking a lot of getting used to an upfront build. I'm so used to playing these backline loadouts that
Bravo is
a lot
in
of decision
enemy
making that
hands.
comes into it, because you certainly can't tank an entire team.
Rogue striker drone detected. Agent down. An agent needs assistance.
Oh goodness, they've got sniper turrets and everything.
The specialization supply drop is expired. You missed out.
Is this guy going to push us?
Point Charlie is in enemy hands. Victory is near.
I'm
Don't
getting
let
pulse
up
my
now.
team.
Rogue seeker mine detected. Rogue sniper turret detected.
There we go, that's what we're talking about. 5 seconds has run out. Nice. So that was a slightly better example.
Rogue defender drone detected.
Point Bravo is
Oh,
being held
dear.
by your squad.
The joys of coming up against an Imperial
5
Dynasty
minutes to
holster.
go.
Fantastic. It's definitely not the most annoying thing in the game. Okay, they're pushing right here, so I'm going to go and support my teammate. Might come up behind us, so I've got to be really careful here. Nope. Oh, this guy's going to get melted.
Rogue hive detected.
And with my terrible accuracy, he did not last a second.
Boost about to activate.
There he is.
Now active. Agent down.
Ooh. No, don't go around the corner. So that extra tanking has just allowed me to survive pretty much all of that, and I haven't even been using my defender drone. Oh, hello. I don't know where he's going.
Allies are acquiring the boost. Rogue striker drone detected. Allies have
Ooh,
acquired the boost.
nice little free kill in a row there.
You won. Excellent.
Okay, well that went from an absolutely awful start to a much stronger second half, so we will stick with this game in the end anyway, because I think in a way what I've probably effectively done without trying is showcased how not to play the build versus how to play it, so and also highlighted that I need a bit more practice with it as well. But yeah, you know, the whole point of these videos isn't to show off some god tier play, because I'm certainly not the best PvP player, and you know, a lot of people that play this game have only just started playing since Warlords came out, so like me, they might need some practice. So this will maybe highlight what not to do. Certainly getting stuck in the middle there, trying to face tank a whole team without cover is a bad play. Not using your defender drone was a mistake I made there, and not dodge rolling enough. So it's just some poor decision making there, but finished on 10 for 3. Shame you can't see damage values there. I think it would have been quite high, but yeah, it was a nice one in the end. So we'll call it quits there, but as I said before, just let me know in the comments what you think, and any changes that you'd want to make to the build.